Long before the pharaohs, before pyramids touched the sky, a civilization rose from the mud of Mesopotamia and recorded the impossible. They wrote of kings who ruled for thousands of years, tens of thousands, before the flood, before history. Archaeologists call it the Sumerian king list, a clay tablet so strange it blurs the line between myth and reality. Because if it's true, then our history didn't begin 5,000 years ago. It began in a forgotten age ruled by gods. In the early 1900s, archaeologists digging near ancient Nippur uncovered a cuneiform tablet worn by time but still legible. When translated, it revealed a list, not of dynasties or empires as we know them, but of impossible reigns. Kings ruling for 28,800 years, 36,000 years, 43,200 years, each name etched in clay as if it were historical record, not myth, and yet the list was precise, organized by cities, dynasties, and eras. It described the rulers who reigned before and after a great flood. To the Sumerians, this wasn't fantasy. It was
After kingship descended from heaven, kingship was in Eridu. These words are not a metaphor. They are a declaration. To the ancient Sumerians, kingship was a divine institution, literally brought down from the gods. Eridu, the first city on the list, is described as the seat of the gods, and its first ruler, Alulim, is said to have reigned for 28,800 years. After him, Alalangar ruled for 36,000 years. These numbers make no sense in human terms, yet the tablets record them with mathematical precision. Were they symbolic? The flood swept over. Afterward, kingship descended again, and new rulers took power, their reigns much shorter, human-like, more believable. It's as if something reset civilization, wiping out a divine era and replacing it with a mortal one. Sound familiar? Almost every ancient culture, from the Bible to the Epic of Gilgamesh, speaks of a great flood that cleansed the world. The Sumerian tablets just happen to be the oldest version of that memory. The Sumerians didn't separate gods from rulers. They believed the Anunnaki, those who from heaven to earth came, appointed kings to govern mankind. These beings weren't mythical to them. They were literal ancestors. In the king list, many early kings are said to have ruled directly under the guidance of the gods. When modern readers see reigns lasting 40,000 years, it sounds impossible, unless time itself was measured differently, or the beings who ruled weren't entirely human. Could the king list be the historical record of the Anunnaki's rule on Earth? Encoded in myth once memory faded, mathematicians studying the king list noticed something strange. The reign lengths are all multiples of 3,600. The Sumerian number Sar, representing a divine cycle. To the Sumerians, one Sar equaled 3,600 years, the time it took their god's planet, Nibiru, to orbit the sun, according to later myths. If those numbers were literal, the reigns might represent celestial cycles, not human years, a cosmic clock rather than a king's lifespan. But even so, the precision is eerie. These weren't random legends. They followed mathematical order. Who keeps time like that? Unless they were keeping track. Geologists confirm that around 1,600 years ago, massive flooding swept through Mesopotamia, the same period mentioned on the tablets. This is the Younger Dryas event, when ice sheets melted and sea levels rose, erasing coastal civilizations. So when the king list says the flood swept over, it may not be metaphor at all. It could be memory. After that disaster, the reigns become shorter. Kings rule for decades, not millennia. It's as if humanity rebooted. survivors emerging from catastrophe to rebuild under mortal kings instead of gods. Atlantis, Noah's Ark, Ziusudra. Different names for the same event written in different languages. Archaeologists have found the ruins of Eridu, the very city listed first on the tablets. It dates back over 7,000 years, making it one of the oldest known cities on Earth. According to myth, it was founded by the god Enki, the Lord of Earth, one of the Anunnaki. At its center stood a ziggurat, the earliest prototype for the great temples that came after. Eridu is where kingship descended from heaven. If the king list preserves the memory of real places and real rulers, then Eridu may be the world's oldest capital, the birthplace of civilization itself. Today, historians debate whether the Sumerian king list is myth, propaganda, or coded record. Some argue the vast reigns were symbolic of divine power. Others quietly admit the pattern is too organized to be random. Why would an ancient people who invented writing, mathematics, and astronomy fabricate a list this specific? Maybe they didn't. Maybe they were preserving the last memory of a time when gods and humans shared the same world. A time erased by flood, remembered in clay. So, was the Sumerian king list history's oldest myth, or humanity's oldest truth? If what they wrote was real, then we're not the first civilization, just the latest. And maybe, buried beneath the sands of Mesopotamia, lie the ruins of the first kingdom, the one ruled by gods before time began.